Hey there, welcome to Bandit's Keep. I'm Daniel, and in this video we're going to continue our adventure building process using the process twice, lined up in the Mulvey Basic book, or the BX book. We've been working our way through all these different scenarios. Let me show you this here. And there's basically 10 kind of adventure scenario ideas that they give you. Obviously you can do anything you want, but these give you ideas and we've been building each one. So I was looking through these and I did get a couple of comments in some videos about, because I've been making these all like second and third level adventures. And the reason why I've been doing that, I think, is because I look at a lot of these as one-shots, and first level characters in a one-shot can be a little bit tough. But I will make something for first level, but not this time. And the reason why is because I rolled randomly and I got using a magical portal. Now, using a magical portal is kind of interesting. I feel like that's kind of a high level thing, right? The way they describe it here, though, the magical portal is a device which magically sends creatures from one place to another. A magical portal is usually a door into another dimensional world, thus may easily become the point of an invasion from one of those worlds. Portals may be known or secret. If known, the characters may be on a mission to destroy or guard a portal used by enemies, or perhaps to reopen or repair a closed portal. Secret portals can be used to make sure characters visit parts of the dungeon. You see these in some of the earlier dungeons. I think there's even a magical portal in the very first dungeon that's listed in the OD&D book where they're showing you how to do it. I think it's in book 2. But anyways, I guess maybe that's book 3. My point being is portals are pretty classic for fantasy. But making this into a one-shot and thinking to myself, well, if the idea is to go find a portal or guard a portal or open a portal, then effectively it's just a regular dungeon adventure, and the MacGuffin, as they call it, is a portal. And I didn't want to go that route. And then I remembered, and I looked on my shelf, that I have this book. This is Kepsa Hadrik. I do not know if I'm saying that correctly. This is effectively constricting the path, shrinking it down. This is a book of portals. This is by Lost Pages. You can get it, I think, still hardbound like this one, although I didn't see it on their website, but I think you can get it on Lulu. But I'll put a link to the Various TTRPG. I downloaded the PDF this morning. I bought it this morning because I realized I didn't have the PDF. This basically is a book on making portals, and it talks a lot about a portal campaign where, you can be jumping around and doing all these different things. And what I decided I was going to do was effectively work in almost like a 5-room dungeon style, meaning that I'm going to create 4 or 5, I think 5, kind of rooms, if you will, or spaces between portals. And the mission is going to be not just to find a portal, open a portal. It's going to be to travel through multiple portals to eventually open up a portal at the end. So I think that'll be really fun. So let's look at my iPad like always. I'm not going to worry too much about maps and stuff for this one because I think each one of these is going to be a specific spot. You could obviously, we'll see as we build it, right? So this video is going to have 2 parts to it. I'm going to try to keep it, condensed as much as possible, but effectively, this is my idea. I have the link to the drive-through book. Go through a series of 5 portals, a 5-room dungeon style. The gates, I wrote this up, the gates of Namin, a secret passage for the Council of 9 Mages to blank, because I don't have a name yet, has been closed. The party must travel through the series of unsafe gates, right? So effectively, there's this one gate that goes directly from the gate of Namin to wherever the Council of 9 likes to go, and that's a safe part. They can just step through and they're good. But there's a bunch of ways to get there, and the way that they're going to send the PCs to reopen the gate is going through a series of unsafe gates. In other words, it's going to be traps, challenges, monsters, etc. They're going to bring a magical relic to the other end, which will then effectively open the gate back up. So that's where we're at. So we're going to create a series of portals. Each jump will work out to be a room to be solved or handled by PCs. Now, I did quickly look up the classic 5-room dungeon again. I've done actually a video on this, but I don't use them exactly the way they're listed here, but I just wanted to kind of give a fair assessment of what the 5-room dungeon says it should be. And you can watch my other video. It goes through all this. But basically, there's an entrance or guardian, puzzle, or these are the different rooms, puzzle or possibly role-play challenge, which I'll talk about that in a second, trick or setback, which is like you think you're going the right way, then you're going somewhere else, or something happens, you realize you don't have something you need, you have to go back, whatever. Climax, which is usually a boss battle, and then reward or revelation, plot twist, whatever. This is cool. I almost never use it exactly as this because I don't really like all those different things. And I feel like if you've done like 3 or 4 or 5-room dungeon in a row, the players start to pick up on the fact that they're just being run through what is effectively a railroad. Whoosh, waiting for the bad comments here. But I think it's a good idea. It's great for one-shots. It's great for kind of whipping something up. We're not going to use all of these things because effectively two things. Number one, I never like to create a challenge that is combat or a challenge that is roleplay. I create a situation in my adventures, any kind of situation, and the players can handle it however they feel like their characters will do it. If I put a bunch of monsters there that some parties might run in and fight them, some parties might negotiate with them, some parties might sneak around them, anything's possible. And that's what makes this game awesome. So I don't make role-play encounters, in that sense, but we might make a puzzle encounter. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to my book. Like I said, I have the PDF here, and I'm going to walk through the process of building the first portal. Then I'm probably going to cut the video and make a whole bunch of them. We'll come back because it's going to be a bit to make this, but I want to show you how it's done. So this part right here with the format is talking about what it looks like, so we can get a good look of what our portal is going to look like. It's a D20 table 3 times. So we'll roll here, 7 obsidian. The interior is 10 iridescent membrane, and extras, the 13 it's searing heat. Okay, so there we go. Okay, so now that we have our entrance, there needs to be a key that's going to get you through the portal. So again, there's a chart here where we can make a name for it. So again, it's a D20 chart. We're going to roll 4 times. Okay, so we have the shapeless unfolding of the repulsive singularity. That's going to be the key that we're going to use to open the first gate. So that could be anything, let the DM decide what that is. I like the strange name, right? Okay, and then we're going to go over to our construction. Now, if you're running this as a campaign, there's a whole section on here of how portals can be constructed. I'm not going to use any of that because we're not having them construct campaigns. But this is the kind of the important part here. This is the Portatron. This is how we're going to build our actual portal. And effectively, we're rolling a D4, a D6, a D10, a D12, a D20, and a D30. And then we're going to reference charts. So let me take this D10 away. I got all my stuff here. Okay. Our D10. Portal looks like number 4. A big stone, wooden, bone, crystal, metal, whatever, arc. Okay, so it's an arc. So it's stone, right? Because we already know that the entrance is so it's a... So I'm going to go up to where it says obsidian. I'm going to say obsidian arc. Then our D6 is a 2. Standing in the middle of the place. So just standing in the middle of the place. Okay, and then we're going to go to our D30, which is a 12. Beyond the portal, on the way to the other portal, there is a lightless abyss. But you can reach the other portal by walking on conveniently placed floating stones. And the stones are slippery. If you don't want to fall down there, save or be lost forever in the bottomless void. Okay, so I'm not going to make this a save or die, especially not on the first portal. But what we will do is we'll take this information, right, and we'll put it here and we'll kind of modify it to work for us. Again, this is because they're kind of being railroaded on some level, right? This is the mission. We don't want to make it so they're just going to die as they walk through. So let's take that one. Okay, so again, we're not going to do a save or be lost forever in the void thing. What you could do here is if they have a retainer or something and you want to build up some tension, or just give them a retainer, this monk will lead you through the first portal, and then have them fall. And then make it, a little bit like, let them start to walk out and fall, then let the players decide what they want to do is probably how I would handle this. You don't want the first player to step out there and go, make a saving throw. You got to kind of give them some telegraphing here. So let's move on to the next thing. Our D12. Oh, and the key is, okay, so 2. Something with metaphysical connections touching the portal. Oh, okay. So actually, we could have done this instead of making the key the other way. I do like the name of it, though. So the key, it something with metaphysical connection. And then there's a D6. Although there is actually 8 things here. So I'm going to roll a D8 again. I haven't used my D8, though. It's on a 2 from earlier, so we'll remember that. 4. Okay, I'll put it back to the 2. So this is a 4. Ectoplasm. The key is... Oh, well, that actually kind of works. So we've got this, like, iridescent membrane, and then you're going to put this ectoplasm. Maybe you pour it on there, and it opens up, right? It could be really cool. So that's the key. Okay, that's the key. There's a picture there. Okay, the D4 is on a 2. Related to both ends. The portals Made from the same stone block. The key is a small leather pouch containing the stone powder. Okay, so it's connected to both ends. So we know that the other end of the portal should also have some membrane. Okay, so what I'm going to say is when they, so let's see, other end. Make a little note for myself. So the other end, I think we'll have to think about what the other end's going to be. We'll deal with that after we get all our numbers down. And then our D20 is at 11. Oh, okay. So it's special because disregard if incompatible. But I rolled an 11, which is over 10, so it says it works fine. So the key works totally fine. Okay, so now we get into the kind of fun part of this. I mean, it's all fun, but this is the D666 table of what the destination is. So what we're going to do is we're going to build a destination for each of these, and then based on where it ends up, that's what we'll create at the other end for the challenge to be, right? So we're going to roll a D666, so 3D6, 5, 3, 5. Now, just note too, again, this is not a campaign with ongoing stuff that they can do research. They've just got to keep going through it like a bit of, again, it's a straight path. It's a 5-room dungeon. So if we roll something that's completely off the chain, doesn't work at all, we'll just re-roll it. So 5, 3, 5. Town people is stuck there because they can't open the portal back. Oh, interesting. So let's flesh this one out a little bit. And then I'm going to stop and roll the rest of them, and then we'll flesh them all out on camera, because I think that'd be a fun way to do it. Okay, so here we are at portal number 1. The entrance is an obsidian arc standing in the middle of the place. The arc is filled with iridescent membrane, and there's a searing heat coming from it. The hazard is that once you step through the portal, on the way to the other portal, there's a lightless abyss. You can reach the other portal by walking on a conveniently placed floating stones. The stones are slippery, and you don't want to fall down there. So again, we can play this out however we want. There could be damage if they fall down there. It could slow them down. They might drop something. I don't think I want to do a save or die. I'll probably do a dex check here, giving some kind of a bonus to smart thinking, like tying themselves together, using light, right? Because it's a lightless abyss, being able to fly. So again, I'm not going to write this in the module because I like, as a DM, to get a module that just says that. I don't want it to tell me what to do. Okay, so the key, the thing to get through this thing is a shapeless, unfolding, and repulsive. Oh, that's the name of it. The key is called. I guess we don't really need a name for the key. But that's kind of fun, though. I'm going to get rid of that because that's confusing. So I'm going to get rid of the key name because we're not using that. I guess you do that if you don't want to use this other part. So the key is actually ectoplasm that must be touched to the portal, and it's connected to both ends. So on the other end, when emerging from the portal, PCs will pierce the surface of a strange pool. Filled with ectoplasm. This is a one-way portal. Okay. On the other end, there's town people stuck because it's a one-way portal. They don't have the key to the other side. So, of course, the PCs will. The PCs are going to have all these keys to start off with. They're going to be given all the keys at the beginning. So they can get these town people out the other side. Of course, the townspeople, we can decide how we want them to act, what's going to happen with the townspeople. This, again, could be a role-play challenge. This could be a combat. It could be any number of things. You know, maybe they were sent there by an evil sorcerer, and when they see somebody come through, they're going to immediately think the PCs are hostile, or possibly the only thing that's ever come through is hostile things. Here's where a reaction roll could be fun. I'll probably, make a little backstory for it, but let's just get all the other portals done first. So I'm going to pause the recording here. I'm going to roll up the other portals just like this, really basic, and then we'll work our way through and we'll actually create the adventure. Okay, so I've roughed out 5 portals. They may not go in this order because we're going to kind of look at them, flesh them out a little bit, then we'll rearrange them so it makes sense as kind of like a process. Because, you'll see when we get to the last one. I don't think that's where I want it to end, but I have another backup plan just in case. So let's look at my iPad. Okay, so again, portal number 1. The entrance is an obsidian arc standing in the middle of the place. What is the place, right? Middle of... I feel like this one we need to make it as simple as possible, right? So here we're just going to put it in the middle. It's, again, it's got this iridescent membrane. I feel like this could be like in the middle of a courtyard, of a long abandoned keep. Now again, because this is the first one, I mean, it can be guarded, but why wouldn't the wizards tell you how to get through it? So I feel like this one is kind of a gimme. Like, the going through the portal should be easy, right? So it's filled with an iridescent membrane that has searing heat. Beyond the portal, that's the challenge, right? Is we're gonna make some kind of a challenge here. They've got to, on the way through, they've got to figure out how to cross this lightless abyss without falling in. Again, that's however the GM wants to run it. Me personally, I would allow, again, player agency to figure out a way to make it easier. Let's make the abyss, because it doesn't say how big it is. Let's say there's a lightless abyss, but you can reach the other portal. Let's make it a random number feet away. We'll use the same thing you do for wandering monsters. So I'll roll 3d6 times 10. So 4, 2, and 7. 4, 2, and 7. Yeah, that's right. I did the math right. I rolled a 1 and I added it up. I was like 7. So it's weird how math works. So 70 feet away by walking on conveniently placed stones. Stones are slippery. You don't want to fall down there. Thieves can use climb. Others. I know I said I wasn't going to put a mechanic, but I think I will because I'm having somebody else run this one. I think. Others test Dex. Others 2 and 6. That seems to chance. Modified by Dex and any player ideas. Okay, or they could fly or something. The key is ectoplasm, right? That must be touched to the portal, connected to both ends. I don't really think I need to write that. I'm just going to say, okay, touch the portal. When emerging from the portal, PCs will pierce the surface of a strange pool filled with ectoplasm. This is a one-way portal. So that's technically kind of part of the other end. They will encounter, let's get a number of townspeople. I'm going to say d6 times 10, 50. I'm trying to make this a little bit neater, but I'm not going to go crazy right now because I'll do that when I'm not being filmed. You don't need to watch me make things neater. All right, so, all right, other end, when emerging from the portal, PCs will pierce the surface of a strange pool filled with ectoplasm. This is a one-way portal. They will encounter 50 townspeople stuck because they can't open the other end. Period. Make a reaction roll to see how they act. Period. Right? We can make some notes here. They are, let's see, d6, 1 or 2, starving, 3 to 4, thirsty, 3 or 4, angry, 5, like being there, right? And 6, actually criminals. There we go. Make it a little random. Obviously, you can use that or not if you're a DM. Cool. Now, again, you've got to keep this in mind. Portal number 2 is in this location, right? And portal number 2's entrance is just set in a wall of an unmarked location, which makes sense, right? They can't find their way out because they don't know where it is. It doesn't look like anything, nothing to be seen, but the area around has an alkali odor. Okay, I rolled that after. You just need to bring the key here to be whisked away. And in this case, the key is an emotion truly felt in the spot. And that emotion is anger. So here's your roleplay encounter, right? Or not. It could be a combat encounter, right? Okay. Stepping through, it says all your stuff vanishes into the folds of the multiverse, scattered in bags of holding, portable holes, surely even the key. Again, this stuff is fun. If I was running a campaign and people had a little foresight on this, I would be okay with that. Maybe giving a saving throw or some kind of chance that happens. I feel like that's too much. So I think what I'm going to do is be inspired by that and say, save versus spells, period. If failed, one item is lost to the folds in the folds of the universe. And then I'm going to put a table. 1. We'll just do a d6, you know. 1 main weapon, 2 armor, 3 shield, or roll again if no shield. I'm just making an even chance of each thing because the universe doesn't care. All food and water. 5 oil, lantern, torches. 6 1 random magic item. Okay. I'm not going to say if we're looking at no shield. I'm just going to say, I'll make a little note here. Roll d6, comma, roll again if the PC does not possess that item. Okay? I'm not going to have the key be lost because, again, this isn't a campaign. We don't want them to get trapped there. You got to think about this when you're using these random tables. How is this going to actually be used in your game? So this is a one-shot, so I'm not going to do that. On the other end, you're going to pop out by a large sawmill. Operated by artificial brass-made automatons looking like gnomes or dwarves. Okay, that's interesting. Now, I'm not going to decide what to do with them yet because I'm going to look at the next portal. Because, again, that portal is here. So the entrance is a very big scroll. Sure, you can roll it up and carry it away. It's located in a shrine with an altar located in the front of the located in front of the portal. With an altar. Okay, so it's behind an altar, basically. And the key is at a specific time. It basically opens after a certain amount of time. So what we want to do here is create a situation where they're going to get slowed down or they're going to look for this thing, right? So maybe, right, it's a sawmill. That's all they see. What we'll do is sawmill is built upon the remains of an ancient Dwarven temple. Let's see, we'll say that all dwarves have suffered terrible fate when rejecting their gods and choosing lumber over gems. Whatever. Now, okay, so it's built upon that. So basically, hatch, stairway, inside mill, leads to temple shrine, temple, period. Shrine is set upon a dais with an altar in front, period. Perfect. Automatons, of course, don't want them to go in there, right? This one's going to, again, they can sneak past, they can do what they want, but okay, we're going to need stats for these guys. Now, normally when I'm doing this kind of stuff, I don't want to stop in the middle of my creative process, so I'm going to leave the stat part for now. I don't think we've really, again, town folks are going to be normal humans, so we don't have to worry too much about that. Actually, let me roll back up here, because I just said that, right? If they roll a 6 here, they're bandits. which makes them a lot tougher. Townspeople are... Okay, there we go. Okay, we don't need anything there. We need some stats for those guys. I'm not going to do anything like... I don't want them to be too tough, unless I make fewer of them. So we'll think about that in a second. Okay, so now there's this very big scroll. The entrance is a very big scroll. You can carry it away. It's located in the shrine, an altar in front of the portal. Located in a shrine. I don't like the way they wrote that, so I'm going to say behind the Dwarven shrine. Behind the altar. Period. The key is a specific time, so again, they got to get there fast. So this is really going to be a matter of, if they take too long thinking about, oh, how are we going to get past these automatons, they're going to basically not be able to get in there. They could also just time it, so they just run past them and gets, things are attacking them, and they just run right past them. And, there's all different ways they can figure this out. They're going to know how long, however we want to. Okay, we'll go back and add some details here, but I feel like they're going to need to know how long. Let's see. Magical amulet lets the PCs know this. Period. If they fail to enter on time, will open again in 10 to 100 days. No, I'll do hours first. Hours, comma, then days, then months, then years. Okay. Let's hope that doesn't happen. Okay, step now. Did I put altar instead of altar? So effectively here, they got to get past them, get down there, they unravel the scroll, and they get inside of it. I mean, yes, they could take it with them and teleport from anywhere, but if they get in there, they're probably going to... So again, you could send a thief in there or somebody invisible to steal the scroll, bring it out, everybody could walk through. So you got some options here. Okay, stepping through the portal... stepping through the portals are not adjacent. So this portal that you step through is not going to be adjacent to the other one. So basically, the hazard... Each two link... Okay, I'm not going to do that. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take... The two are within walking portals. Okay, so I'm going to do this. Okay, stepping through the portals are not adjacent. They are within walking distance of each other. Roll d6 to see what separates them. Okay. 1 a deep chasm, 2 in dull and 6 on walls, raging river, fire everywhere, dense bramble wood, a gaping void. And what we'll say is, here we're going to put in the wandering monster, right? Okay, so this happens after they roll. They're going to walk through the scroll, and then before they get to the other side, this is what's going to happen. So they're going to come out, and they're going to look on the other end, which is some pools, basically in Greek. So there's naiads, blah, blah, blah. That's actually pretty cool. Okay, so what we're going to do here is, we're going to make a wandering monster thing. So they're basically in Greece. So let's make a Greek wandering monster list. Well, we know we got Medusa. We got the Minotaur. We got Pegasus. I think these are all Greek. I'm going to look through my Greek. Let's look at the monsters in the book. We'll do that in a second. So we'll get to this. I want to have 6 because 6 is always fun. Right. Okay. Yeah. They step through the portal. They look. They see these pools on the other side. It's blocked by something. Could be fire. Could be whatever. They're gonna have to make wandering monster checks on their way there. When they get there, there's going to be these basically hot pools, right? With naiads in it, right? Which are, of course. I'm probably have to change these two. Use Nixie, because I don't think there's naiads in BX. Stats. They invite the PCs to base with them with their usual treacherous ways, right? So these are basically they're going to try to seduce the PCs to stay with them. This would be like a charm spell, whatever. The entrance to the fourth portal is going to be a stone barrel. Inside is darkness and strange sounds can be heard. It transfers what's inside if closed. It's in a shrine or a special place, so obviously, we got these nixies here, and you don't need a key. The other end is Misen. Okay, so the other end is a savanna or grassland. Okay, this is easy. So we know there's these nixies here. I'm actually going to say, because they're nixies, right? This, the shrine or special place in a shrine at the bottom of a deep, clear pool. So here they're going to actually have to deal with the naiads, right? Because they got no choice. They could fight them, I guess. Okay, stepping through this one is going to aid you, which is kind of sucky, but maybe save versus spells. Although I don't think so, because that's not too bad. That's not going to kill anybody. The other end of this one is going to come out into the middle of a savanna and tall grass. There's a group of 8 elephants. If attacked, they will first ask the PCs to be left alone, then grab giant swords hidden in the grass and wield them in their trunks and fight like level 12 fighters. Okay, that's pretty awesome. I don't think I need to do anything with that. All right, now Portal 5 is a little bit weird. It's a wall of flesh with an ornate gilded bas relief or frieze. It's filled with absolute darkness. So it's going to be carved, obviously, because it can't be gilded because it's filled with darkness. A gate. Or door filled. I'll say a door. I'll say gate. Gates are always good. Filled with absolute darkness. And a rotting smell. That's always nice. It's located in its own special room. Its walls are covered with mystical symbols. Now remember, this is in a savanna. So at this point, what I'm going to do is, because it's out in a savanna, which is basically like a grassland, right? I'm going to say that it's located in a tiny hut in the vast savanna. The interior walls are covered with mystical symbols. Okay, so what happens here is I rolled again. So obviously the hut doesn't look like anything, but on the outside of it, it's going to be set up. So in addition, it seems that someone tried to protect themselves with traps and defenses from something that might emerge from the portal. All levers and mechanisms are accessible from the outside of the portal chamber. So you can close the trap off here. So we're going to say there's a chance there's something inside, right? 2 and 6 chance. Hut contains monster. We'll figure out in a second what it might be. Okay, so the key is an action carried out in front of the portal. A specific glyph must be traced. So that's easy enough. You go in there. The walls are covered with glyphs, right? You trace your glyph. It opens the portal. You step through. This is the only part that's a little weird to me. It ends up, where this thing ends is in the slums of Goblinburg. So this can be kind of funny because there's these like high level, super powerful mages want to regularly go to Goblinburg. So we'll figure out what's over there. The other end opens into the slums of Goblinburg, ruled by the excellent Patrician Gobo IV. Due to local mores, non-goblinoids are expected to wear green face paint at all times. If they comply, the locals will ignore their non-goblinists and treat them as fellow nationals. Otherwise, they'll be treated as lunch. This one might be seen as a bit problematic because of the face paint and everything. So I think I wouldn't really use that depending on your group. So I'm not going to put it in a module that could go out generically to people. So I think what I'll do here is I'm going to say that any non-goblinoids that do not speak Goblin. So in other words, they're going to get there, and if they don't all speak Goblin, only the player characters that speak Goblin can speak. If any other player speaks in character, they're going to be attacked. Okay? Once they're there, all they have to do at this point is bring entrance key, bring portal key, I'll call it, to this guy here, Gobo, to complete the quest. Period. Whew. Alrighty. All right, so let's go through this whole module and kind of work our way through it, and we'll add any tidbits we need to as we finish this thing up. So let's take a look at my iPad again. The Gates of Namian, a secure passage for the Council of the Nine Mages to Vrom Ogoth. So I got that name from Donjon. I just went to, let me show my computer here. I went to Donjon and I went to weird random generator, weird locations on alien worlds, because I just thought that kind of sounded cool. It's the first one. It says, Vrom Ogoth, a doomed world of ancient hills and thorny forests beneath the sky of breathing clouds. Shifting form of living shadows hover here, surrounded by sculpted stones engraved with baleful symbols. That's pretty cool. We can put that as a note in the thing if we want, but effectively, that's where it goes. It's been closed. The party must travel through a series of unsafe gates, because that's a safe gate, to bring a magical relic to the other end, thus reopening the gate for the mages to use. Easy, right? So, portal number 1. Entrance. Obsidian arc standing in the middle of a courtyard of a long-abandoned keep, filled with iridescent membrane and searing heat. So the key is an ectoplasm. Move this around. The key is ectoplasm. It'll be in some kind of a jar. Maybe it'll you can, again, I'm not going to say exactly how you do it because I feel like DMs come up with cool things. So however the DM wants to do this, or if I was running it in the moment, or whatever I want to do it, they had this ectoplasm. They got to touch it to it. And then it will it open up, right? The hazard, once beyond the portal, on the way to the other portal, there's a lightless abyss. But you can reach the other portal 70 feet away by walking on conveniently placed floating stones. The stones are slippery. You don't want to fall, and you don't want to fall down there. I'm going to leave that like that. Thieves can use their climb skill. Others have a 2 in 6 chance modified by dex and any player ideas. Obviously, good player skill is going to matter a lot here. The other end, when emerging from the pool, PCs will pierce the surface of a strange pool filled with ectoplasm. This is a one-way portal, and they will encounter 50 townspeople, normal humans, stuck, because they can't open the other end. Make reaction roll to see how they act. They are, and I give a d6, they could be starving, they could be angry, they could like being there, or they could actually be criminals and bandits, right? And that could be bad for the party. There's 50 of them. Portal number 2. So in this location is portal number 2. The entrance is set in a wall of an unmarked location. It doesn't look like anything. Nothing to be seen. But the area has an alkali odor, so the party's going to walk around and try to smell it out. You just need to bring the key there to get whisked away. The key in this case is an emotional feeling, truly felt when the close distance to the portal. In this case, the emotion is anger. So the PCs have to get them to be angry. Stepping through this one, you make save versus spells. If failed, one item is lost in the folds of multiverse, scattered into bags of holding and portable holes. Roll d6. Roll again if the PC doesn't possess that item. Main weapon, armor, shield, all food and water, oil and torches, one random magic item. So everybody's going to lose something if they fail their save. The other end is a large sawmill operated by artificial brass-made automatons, I should say. Looking like the other end is a large sawmill operated by artificial brass-made automatons looking like gnomes or dwarves. Sawmills built upon the remains of an ancient dwarven temple. All dwarves suffered a terrible fate when they rejected their gods, choosing lumber over gems. The stairway inside the mill leads to the temple. The shrine is set upon a dais with an altar in front. The automatons will prevent anyone from entering the mill. I need stats for the automatons. So let's do that now. So again, I'm going to come over here to my basic book. Let's do this. And we're just going to go down to the wandering monsters. This lists most of the monsters. I don't want these guys to be particularly tough. Because I think that they should be tough, but not particularly. So I'm going to say, if we look at something like an orc, orcs are pretty tough, but they're not crazy tough. And they actually, it would be good as hobgoblins, I bet. Yeah, they're 1+1. They get slightly better armor class. Yeah, I'm going to say this hobgoblin. Now, what we're going to do here is we're going to make them, let's see, hobgoblins only come in a group of 1 to 6. That's not nearly enough. We want to make sure there's enough to make it seem like there's a problem if the party wants to do something. So I'm going to say that we want to have a dozen of them. Artificial brass made, blah, 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 looking like gnomes or dwarves. So if they want to fight, they can. I mean, that 12 hobgoblins is not an impossible task for a party. I'd probably going to be a third level party, but I'm going to say they are immune to reduce sleep, charm, etc. Because they're automatons, right? Just, but the stats of the hobgoblins, I don't need to make up all new stats for them. And they're brass, so I'm not going to make them, hobgoblins only have like a 6 armor class, but, they're made out of brass, so I don't think they need to be super, super tough. Okay, back to the iPad. Okay, so, again, they can sneak past the automatons, they can do whatever they want. The entrance to the next one, so in this location, in this altar room, is a very big scroll. It says, sure, you can roll it up and carry it away. It's located in the Dwarven shrine behind the altar. Again, if the thief sneaks in, or somebody who can turn invisible or teleport, dimension, or whatever they might have, they could take the scroll, bring it outside, and let everybody walk through. They don't have to go through everybody doesn't have to go through the automatons if the players are smart. And they should know this information. I'm probably gonna, I'll probably do it at the end. I'll figure out a way that they might know this. They'll have hints. Okay, but the key in this case is actually a specific time. So the only problem with sneaking in and taking it is if they don't have a whole lot of time. It's D10 times 10, basically 10 D10, 10 to 100 turns. After the portal opens, the magical amulet will let the PCs know that, so they have a counter. They should know that. If they fail to enter on time, it'll open again in 10 D10 hours. And actually, it's not 10 D10, 20 10 times 10 hours, and then days, and then months, and then years. So they definitely want to get in there right away. Even hours is going to be terrible. Okay, so when they step through the portals. When they step through the portal, this one and the next one are not adjacent, but they are within walking distance from each other. Roll d6 to see what separates them: a deep chasm, a thick stone wall, raging river, fire, dense bramble. Actually, it says walking distance. I'm going to say d6 miles. Yeah, so I put a 5 there. D6 miles. That's not too bad from each other. Roll the d6 to see what separates them, and then roll a wandering monster check every turn. So again, if they're traveling in heavy armor, if it's a raging river or it's fire, it's going to take them longer to go. And I want to use Greek monsters because they're somewhere before some Greek cities were formed. I just did a Google search. Greek mythology monsters, full list. Oh, very cool. Awesome images too. Is there actually going to be oh wow, okay. So we've got all these. Oh, that's cool as heck. Okay, I think I'm going to have to spend some time here, but we already have Medusa. Oh, sirens. I don't think there are sirens in BX, but I'll look. We can always make them up, right? Although sirens are more in the water, and again, it depends on. I'm just going to go through these. Oh, harpies are in BX. I know that. I've used them before. And again, you can make up any monster you want, but I am going to try to, what I do is I try to keep a little bit. Ooh, llamas are cool too. Sphinx. Giants are definitely oh, Chimera. What am I thinking? That was one of my favorite monsters. And actually, if it's a 3rd level adventure, which I might make this, Chimera is not out of the question. It's tough, but it's not out of the question. There's also Hydra, which doesn't 100% make sense. Oh, lions. I could just use a lion, right? There's the Minotaur. Lions are good. I know these things are in BX. That's why I'm picking them. Oh, Python. So a giant snake. Oh, yeah, there's tons of stuff. Cool. All right, so we got this list here. Oh, I didn't see Pegasus listed. I wonder why. Is Pegasus not? Is that Roman? No, I think Pegasus is Greek. Anyways, let's take a look. I have 8 things. I don't really need 8. And I feel like maybe, a Pegasus would be really cool if they could get it to help them. But let's remove the Pegasus. Let's make these monsters because there's nothing so far that's very violent. And since I don't think sirens exist either, I'm going to get rid of sirens and Pegasus. Put a lion, and I'm going to put giant snake. And there we go. So there's a chance they're going to encounter monsters on their way. Okay, so at the other end of this, we've got a pool, right? I think I'm going to use Nixies. It says naiads, but, 3-foot tall water sprites. They look like small, beautiful women. Their skin is light blue, green. They are neutral, but they're kind of, tricky. let's see, they do, I think it takes 10 of them to cast a charm spell, so we might want to tweak that a little bit. We have to make sure there's at least 10, right? Let's see, 10 Nixies can cast 1 charm spell. Okay, so it says 2 to 40, so we'll just do that, right? I mean, that's the total lair, I recommend at least 10. But if you just want to if you don't want them to actually cast a charm spell, you don't need 10. So the entrance to this portal, though, is going to be a stone barrel. Inside is darkness and strange sounds can be heard. It transfers what's inside. If closed, it's in a shrine at the bottom of a deep, clear pool, the home of the Naiads. So basically, it's with the Naiads. No key needed. You just climb inside, put the cover on, you go. Stepping through ages the traveler, though, 1d6 years. Of course, they're not going to know that. This is one reason why the wizards don't want to constantly use this. At the other end, they end up in the middle of a savanna in tall grass. There's a group of 8 elephants close by. I'm going to leave this to exactly the way it is because that's pretty epic. Now they're going to travel across the savanna. It's a wall of flesh with an ornate carved bas relief gate filled with absolute darkness and a rotting smell. It's located in a tiny hut in the vast savanna. I'm going to say travel for several hours. Roll 1 warning monster. Check. Why not? Just to keep it fresh. The interior walls are covered with mystical symbols, but it seems that someone's tried to protect themselves with traps and defenses from something that might emerge from the portal. All the levers and the mechanisms accessible from outside of the chamber. There is a 2 in 6 chance that inside there's a monster. So let's pick something kind of tough because clearly they're trying to keep whatever's inside out. They're nervous, whoever locked this up, possibly even these elephants did that. But it's got to fit inside there, right? I'm going to go back to the basic book here. If we look at our 3rd level wandering monsters, gargoyle, harpy, some of these things are tough. Medusa, but we may already encounter that. Ooh, there could be a white inside. Because a white is one of those things that can be really dangerous, even if it's one white can be pretty dangerous. I mean, they're 3-hit die. They level drain. Let's put a white in there. Well, I'm going to say 1 to 6 because that's what they come in. Bam. Okay. The key in action carried out in front of the portal, which is a specific magical glyph that the party will know. At the other end, when they pop out the other end, they're going to be the slums of Goblinburg, ruled by the excellent patrician Gobo IV. Due to local mores of any non-goblins are expected to speak the goblin language at all times. If they comply, the locals will ignore their non-goblinness and treat them as fellow nationals. Otherwise, they will be treated as lunch. So this one's tricky, right? Because it could be any number of goblins here. I'm just going to say mobbed by goblins. Must roll 2 wandering monster checks as they explore the city looking for Gobo's home, Gobo's palace, I guess. Period. Always will encounter goblins that will address them in the goblin language. Period. Bring the portal key to Gobo to complete the quest, and we are done. So yeah, we're basically good. So I thought I would have to change things up, but I kind of like this idea of them traveling to this goblin place because it's probably going to be unexpected, right? So I think the next thing that I'm going to do here, just very simply, is I'm going to look at all these different keys and stuff and make like a little, I don't know, I'm just going to say a poem, but make like a little kind of cheat sheet to give the players so they'll have some hints. Okay, so you want to give them a little bit of hints, but we don't want to give them too much because, you want this part of player skill. It's part of the fun of the game. But, of course, the wizard wouldn't just be like, go, right? So you could use any excuse you want as a DM. Maybe they don't know 100% how to get through the gates. Maybe they have only like little bits of knowledge from past people who have done it. Or maybe they don't want to tell them exactly because this information might get kind of intercepted by enemies, right? So we want to give them a few things. The ectoplasm, which could be anything, right? What I'm calling the ruby clock, which I'll talk about in a second. and we want to teach them the rune or the glyph that they're going to do in that last space, and then also give them whatever the final key might be. So let's do this. Let's, I'm going to show you my iPad. And this is basically what I'm saying. The Ichor opens the gate to darkness. Watch your step. And they should basically, when they give them the ectoplasm, they should call it the Ichor, right? An alkali odor marks the place you must bring anger and maybe violence. The time is short, and the pulsing of the ruby clock will guide you into the barrel beneath the waves. Sketch the rune upon the wall, and flesh shall allow passage. Bring the key to the palace of the excellent patrician. And that's essentially going to set us up so that those are little bits of hints. And of course, obviously, how you run it will make a difference. So hopefully you guys enjoyed this. And if you have any questions or thoughts of how you might do things a little different or whatever, go ahead and put them in the comments below. Subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. And I'll see you next time.